Big round of applause for Laurynas and Klementina. So first of all, I want to start talking a little bit about the Laurynas bio and also Klementina. So basically, Laurynas has got an incredible amount of degrees. One is in mathematics, and the other one is in cinematography, right? So how's that? Why did you start with math?
Well, I finished in high school. It was a very technical, like academics-oriented high school, so I had no ideas about going into cinema, and I watched a lot, but I never imagined it to be a profession. And then I studied mathematics. I finished 4 years, and during that time, because I'm not from the capital, but from a smaller town, during that time, during my studies, during the free time, I kind of fell into this world and wanted to try myself, and I couldn't get into directing because it's difficult. In Lithuania there are exams for acting, and it's kind of, my friends tried and couldn't, so I kind of found the loophole, because it's really easy to get into cinematography. The competition is really small, and there are like 13 people for 10 places, so I just got through there, yeah.
If any DOP here, let's go to Lithuania.
Yeah.
And then you started working on shorts, basically. So you created so this is the first feature film, Pilgrims, which won at the Venice Film Festival last year in the Horizon section, and then also the Oscar entry for Lithuania. So you did Dembava in 2014, The Camel in 2016, By the Pool 2017, Caucasus 2018, and finally Dami in 2020. So it's a big collection of short films. Yeah. But so the theme is that somewhat similar to what you.
Yeah, my first one was mostly connected to this one, because it was based around a similar kind of, but a real tragic crime that was in Lithuania, in the city Dembava, small town. So it's kind of the most connected to Pilgrims, but in a way they all visually kind of go the same way.
Okay. And inside Klementina, she's a producer of the film, and so they started a production company together, right? So basically from school, you met in school, is that how?
Yeah.
Please.
It was after school, like our production, after school production. But yeah, we met in academy, and we done this. Dembava actually was also his graduation work as a bachelor as cinematographer. So yeah, we worked together, and after studies, I remember Laurynas asked me, so maybe we should continue working, or maybe we should split and go to another production. So I said, okay, try to work together, and yeah. So we co-founded this production company, and yes, all short films we made together.
Yeah, well, that's impressive, because we were just saying that cinema now, it's upcoming in Lithuania. So the fact that you got already your own production company with already a slate of films to come up, so it's it's quite relevant, absolutely. So yeah, I forgot to say that the first short film was nominated to the Lithuanian Film Award as the best student film in 2015. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think all of them were.
Oh, all of them. Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
We're nominated. Yeah.
No, nominated. Yeah. But still.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah,
it was really big thing for me.
Mm-hmm. How old are you now? Sorry, bad question.
34.
Okay, yeah. So very young. Yeah. So Yeah, so basically, so the film that we saw tonight, it seems like you're always going back to you know, a kind of circuit, and you need to find out, discover what happened a certain night, a certain time, and the people that you're actually describing, they're survivors in a way, right? Is that what you? Because yeah, I'd like for you to expand a bit the title of the film, Pilgrims. Why did you pick up the title?
It came actually in quite a late stage of script writing, because I started writing the script. I always thought that the story is going to be like this, but not in a chronological way. And the first scene was always them coming to a house and arguing with the owners, but it kind of then from there it had no logic to it. They just randomly visited places. So then I decided to bring this, that they start where he was kidnapped and they end where he was killed. And after this, when I was looking back at the script, at the structure, at their journey, I kind of realized that it's like these stations of a cross, you know, like pilgrimage. So then I decided to use this name.
Yeah, I think it's totally appropriate, because I mean it's actually maybe not religious, but maybe mystical, psychological. You know, definitely. You know, just kind of trying to understand, because this is what grief is all about. You know, trying to understand, trying to get over that, and I think, you know, all the various stages in the film represent this kind of path. You know, that's kind of. And especially, there's one scene that really struck me a lot, and when the young guy decides to show to Paulus you know, the what's behind the village, and that's really a very powerful scene, because
Paulus or Indra? The night scene?
The night
where
scene.
He says like,
Yeah.
So that was the scene where I wanted, while writing, when I wrote the scene, I decided that this is the scene that opens up the film, like this personal tragedy translates to a tragedy of the community, and even it touches historical aspects, how we live on this historically layered land. Like, you have layers and layers of things that happened, but we still have to live there and somehow deal with it, which is not, like, in my opinion, we still struggle with some of our historical memory, and we still try to avoid it, try to go around it, not mention it. But I think for our sake, for our saneness, I think we should always find a way to acknowledge, and to show respect, but also to find a way how we still exist in these places.
So it would be like a metaphor for you know, the real life outside, and you know what the heritage, or you know what the past is all about. Yeah, so yeah, pretty interesting. Klementina, tell me, how was it difficult, the production, you know, the preparation, and you know, finding the settings and.
The most hardest thing in this film was in development, when we had to pitch this film. So it was like impossible, because this is very visual film and very conceptual in visual style. So when we were pitching, it was just, you know, two main characters go to the city, and it was so much boring. Nobody believed in this film, so it was very hard to pitch. But after, I don't know, basically this film is funded by Lithuanian Film Center, and it's a first feature. It's a debut film for me, for Laurynas also. So the budget is very strict and low. So but it was like Laurynas is very production friendly director, so what I appreciate a lot. So, and the film was shot in his hometown, Karmelova. It's a small city, it's a airport city near Kaunas. So we shot the Caucasus short film. It was also shot there. So we actually know kind of this place. And Laurynas also told me that he want to shoot this film chronologically, which is in production. It's not very cheap. It's very expensive, but he also told me that I will edit the film. So it's like a compromise. Okay, so if you edit, we can allow. But actually, the city was very friendly. They just allowed us to come, go, come back, and so on. They were very supportive, so it was kind of not that much hard as I imagined could be. So, and the crew also was small. We lived in the city for a month, actually in that house here, B&B. Yeah, we lived there, so it was like, and also in Lithuania it was quarantine in summer, but we were like the all crew were in quarantine, in one place, all people.
The bubble.
The bubble. It was our bubble. Yeah, so it was like, but we also of course have some free days, but I really tried people to not to leave the set and the city, and we're just making some stuff to be together. So production was kind of also very smooth. It wasn't such a big deals which. So everything went normal, but as I mentioned, the first development stage was really, really hard because it's a debut feature film. You don't showing anything, you're just talking, and it's like.
No, it's definitely a very unusual psycho thriller. Very unusual because there's no blood. There's no. I mean, they talk about murder, but they don't show ever anything. But at the same time, it's very static. You don't use very much music. But at the same time, it gets deep into your skin,
but how to tell that? It's impossible, So it was, But now we are working on their film, so we got the lesson. We are shooting the scene next week, so we will show in pictures, I think.
Yeah, but so did you use also non-professional actors? I mean, like people from the village directly or no?
No, because we have... the mise-en-scene is kind of strict, and there's a lot of technical detail for the actors, for the movement, so I tried to use people I worked with before, like in short films. Most of the actors, it was my fourth film. Just Gabia was the first film, but we worked with her a lot in pre-production, so it's kind of, I tried using amateur actors, but we always, there's a different, I think I should prepare differently, and the visual style wouldn't fit them, because we tend to be very static or so I couldn't find the right process with them in some short films, so now I stick to professional actors.
Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. You not only have a production company that, of course you work with the same people, you also work with the same actors. So, I mean, you really created some kind of a community, cinema community, that follows you everywhere. Is that what you want to do also for the future?
Yeah, we like to work with the same people because then they know our process, and you don't have to explain a lot. We tend to work like Lithuanian shooting day, usually 12 hours, and we cut it to 8, so we can rehearse for the second day. I can edit, rewrite, and this kind of work process needs some other kind of person, to know, because everyone who comes new, we have to act kind of adjust a little time to adjust, and especially actors, because we have like 3-4 minutes just walking, so for some of them the beginning is hard, but then we enjoy it.
Yeah, so and also I want to talk about the end scene, in which there's some kind of catharsis, so that the people actually, the two protagonists, somewhat, because it's not really very black and white, film. It's more greyish, more kind of subtle. So they kind of go into the water. They try to kind of wash themselves out of all the past and all the memories and the grief, etc. So is that how did you prepare for that scene? How did you work with the actors and what you wanted to achieve?
Because we shot it on the last day in Karmelova, we kind of both of the actors were mentally already quite close to this kind of feeling, because we already talked about this happening before. And also I needed to kind of discover the scene, because in the original script it was way bigger, there were more characters, but during the production and I kept rewriting, and I managed to get this dynamic that he kind of from the main character becomes a secondary, and she from the secondary becomes the main. So then through this I kind of discovered that this will be enough just for her to lie in the same place that that Matas laid. So yeah, it was more a discovery for me, because we both were really kind of going on some kind of tracks, and from the second, third day we had our little discussion. We were really in the mood, and it was more of me discovering how I should end the film, not in a way, not in a kind of logical way or some kind of like put some meaning, but just in this emotional way for her. And then she goes on afterwards, in a way. There's a whole another story how she deals with this wound that opened, and he goes on a different path. So
yeah, and it's interesting because at the end of the film there is some kind of release, of the whole tension, the whole build up that you get going through. Yeah. Well, I think we can open the question to the public. So if we got one up there. We start with on the top.
Thank you for a very interesting film. I have a bit of a technical question. There's actually a few, so hopefully you can tell me a bit more about the choices you made with the shots and why you chose to do so long shots, and how long it took to do these shots. How many takes did you do? What camera did you shoot on? What gear did you use? I'm just curious. Thank you.
So we used the Amira, and we had an Ingenue. It was, I think, one zoom. It was this, I think, 290 from 28. This huge lens. So when we used that for everything, so on a tripod. Why I chose to do it this way? Because I wanted to have the feeling that you're not close to any one of them, but just like a third person going on this trip, like someone close but not too close. And actually the longest to shoot took one scene that was actually really simple, but the problem was that the actor that played it just came back from her summer vacation, so we kind of, because all of the scenes were 5-6 takes free with a child, it was like 2 takes and that's it. So the scene where the police commissioner, she tells like what happened, it took like 25 takes. She was, I really love the actor and we worked with her before, but she's kind of retired. I kind of persuaded her to be in the film, and she came just from her summer holidays, so it was difficult. But in the end, we got it. We even had these takes that, you know, she's going, and she forgets something, and she says, and then she's going, and it's one take, you know. So, yeah, but it happens. Yeah, it was a bit of my mistake, just thinking that she will be able to get into it.
Well, you know, there are directors who are so perfectionists that do 30 takes anyway, even if everything is perfect. And one of them is Robert Oslund of Triangle of Sadness. It's like even 50 takes. So, you know, you're good. Absolutely. So we had another question down here. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, little by little we'll get to you.
It's related. So with these long scenes, it seemed like you used them on purpose to portray this emotion of grief. So with the long driving scenes, and what emotion did you intentionally want to create, and how did you use the shooting to create that emotion?
Well, it's hard to describe. I kind of wanted to go with the feeling that all the driving scenes are connected with the waiting, what will happen, you know, and especially the night one where she's going to the, she's thinking that she's driving him home, but he's driving her to this kind of local attraction that he somehow thinks that she wants to see. So I wanted to extend the time a bit, to use the silence, to not to put like exactly in the place of Matas, but somehow close to it, because especially the first part, which is at night, all the shots have place for the character that was kidnapped and tortured. So I kind of try to compose the shots that there's place for him, and there are three characters actually going through his journey, one imaginary. But then I kind of went with it, like every day after edit, kind of thinking if I'm if it works, if it's not, what to change.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm very curious about your choice not to use any music throughout the movie and even on the titles at the end.
Yeah, the titles I don't like. No, it's not. But because we didn't have in the film, we kind of didn't settle on anything. But for the whole film, I was sure that with the sound designer, we worked really closely, and he's like my composer. We really went and got a lot of sounds from the atmospheres and different places during different times. We had a third person who was just responsible for recording the whole town during we were shooting, and she was going around and recording. So and because Karmelova, from my childhood, I know this city. It's never quiet, you know. It's like a small city, like a village, but it's never quiet. There's the big street through the middle of it. There's the airport. There are always dogs, someone shouting. So I wanted to kind of translate that and not put something on top of it, just to use that. And the reason is that, yeah, like the first one, I work really closely with my sound designer, and it's kind of the third person composer. We never found someone who fits and works with us, so we decided for this film especially to just go like this. Yeah, and for the titles, yeah, I just couldn't find anything.
So yeah, another thing that I was thinking about when watching your film, it's that reminds me a bit of all the Hollywood New Wave in the 30s, where all the Jewish filmmakers emigrated to Hollywood, to California, and what they did, they said, never show the murder, never show the blood, just show the shadows. You know, so it's like, it was really like, because people get really spooky and, you know, they just get scared just of thinking that there's like a noise or there is, you know, or somebody telling a story. So this is, you know, in a way, it's also your approach to the storytelling.
Yes, I thought that actually in the original script there was one part where there's physical violence, but in the end I decided, like the scene where they meet the witness and she's going around, and in the script he attacks her, but when we tried rehearsing, the whole tension is gone, you know, when with the physical act. So then I chose like that he scares her with acid, pretend acid. So that's, I didn't want to lose the energy because like to somehow, and also I wanted him to be in a way already for the viewer to understand that he's defeated, that he's not going to find any kind of satisfaction. So that's why I chose not to show any violence and kind of keep everything underground.
Yeah, definitely. Any other questions? We got one there.
Yeah, I thought that you were exploring the uncanny, you know, as a lot of there's maybe Kubrick, or I mean I quite like him, but also David Lynch and different sorts. And are you, well, there's a few questions I want to ask, but are you going to explore music in any of the future projects which could add to this feeling of the uncanny? Because I wasn't sure sometimes, I mean I know you were sort of painting the journey of the murdered fella, Matthias, with the way you were sort of, you know, the characters had a lot of tension by the end. I assume that's why you decided to shoot in the order that you might have chosen. I mean, that you chose. But my question is, why did you make this film?
Because I was interested in the, like, this film started from me being in a going through woods, and because I did the short film Dembava, the crime happened in like this ordinary road, simple, and they burned a girl in the back of a car alive, and I remember the place as being like, there's the car and then they tow the car and then it's just a simple place. But when you know what happened there, the place becomes in a way like it's radioactive, like you cannot be there, but it's a simple place, you know, there's trees, there's sun, it's summer, and it doesn't look as though the place is toxic, but when you know what happened there, you cannot bear this intense feeling. So from this image of the characters, that the place doesn't show the tragedy, but you see on the people that are in the place that this is not okay and this is very heavy for them. So from this, I wanted to tell the story just to kind of create this emotion, this to give to a viewer, because I think it's important not to settle on just emotions that we can describe in words, but we can describe more difficult emotions in films. Like, it's hard to describe in words, but I think with a film you can translate this kind of feeling. So that's why I just wanted to share it, this kind of experience.
Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, maybe... Oh, there's one.
Oh,
Yeah, please.
I've just come out.
Too close. It's okay. We understand.
I have just come out of retirement, so I may have missed something. Ačiū širdingai, a wonderful film.
Thank you.
Something like that. A question. I have a question, and I may have missed something at the beginning of the film. I thought it was so powerful to put the foot, to have that foot injury. That's the serious part, and I'd like you to learn when that appeared in the story and so on. And the trivial question is, did it matter whether it was the right or left leg?
It did matter which leg, and it was from quite an early part, because it serves two purposes. Like, one purpose is just visually, psychologically. I wanted him not only to be this kind of defeated, but to have something that we know that he's a bit handicapped, like that he will not be able to exact his revenge fully. And also I just wanted that his right foot is in a cast, so he cannot drive, just to be visually, just to clear that why she is there, because we understand why she's there only 50 minutes in. So just, I didn't want this question for the viewer always, why is she driving, why is she there? So because I kind of thought about maybe he lost his driver's license, but that's too much to explain. Like, the first scene would be horrible. Hello, I will drive you because you don't have... Yeah. So I just wanted to be clear. He cannot drive.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay. So, well, so that was the last question. Do you want to talk about your next project? Because it seems very interesting. Klementina or you? One of the two?
So yeah, we have one in development, and we are trying to pitch to find the funding, and hope next year we will shoot.
Okay. Very cryptic. Okay, that's fine. Well, I think that a big round of applause to both of them. For this wonderful movie.